Welcome to Starbound Vela HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures where humanity always rises. In the dark silence of space, near a dying red star, something vast and ancient drifted. Hundreds of massive ships floated together, their metal bodies covered in dust and ice. Once, long ago, this was a human fleet, strong and proud. Now it was only a graveyard, a field of giants lost in time. No lights glowed. No signals came. The great ships of humanity were silent. For centuries, the universe had forgotten them. Then, one day, the silence was broken. A small alien exploration fleet entered the system. Their ships were new, shining with bright energy. The alien commander, a tall being with silver eyes, looked at the old human vessels on his screen and laughed. "So these are the mighty human warships," he said. "Pathetic. They look like floating trash." His crew laughed with him. They had heard stories of humans, loud, emotional, and reckless creatures who destroyed themselves long ago. To the aliens, these ships were nothing but relics from a failed race. The commander ordered his fleet to move closer. Their scanners swept across the human vessels, sending data back. "All systems dead," one officer said. "No energy, no movement, no life. Only ancient metal." The commander smiled. "Perfect. We can strip them for resources. Maybe we'll find something to sell." But as they came near the largest ship, a colossal dreadnought half-buried in asteroid dust, something strange happened. Their scanners glitched. The radar flashed for a second, then went dark. "What happened?" the commander asked. The officer frowned. "Interference, say." The signal bounced back. "From what?" "I don't know. Maybe an old power core." The commander laughed again. "Old junk waking up? Nonsense." He turned his ship and flew closer to the dreadnought. Its name could still be read across the hull. TNS Vigilant. A name once feared across the stars. The alien captain stared at it, unimpressed. "Vigilant," he said. "How poetic. Now, let's open it up." The aliens released small drones that flew toward the massive ship. They drilled into the outer hull and sent back images of empty corridors and frozen control rooms. Everything was dead. But one of the drones sent something strange. Deep inside the ship, a faint red light flickered for half a second. Then it went out. The alien technicians saw it and laughed. "Probably a chemical reaction," one said. "Or static discharge." They didn't notice that, in that moment, somewhere deep inside the Vigilant, something ancient had awakened. A system long asleep began to whisper. "Reactor check. Core stable. Power at 0.03%. AI protocol dormant." Slowly, very slowly, an old code started to run. Protocol Phoenix, online. Inside the dark command room of the Vigilant, lights blinked weakly. Dust fell from the ceiling. A control screen flickered on, showing the symbol of Earth, a faded blue circle. Then a voice spoke, soft and mechanical. "System rebooting. Identify friend or foe." The aliens didn't hear it. They were too busy laughing, celebrating the discovery of what they called the largest junkyard in history. The commander gave a speech, proud and arrogant. "This is what happens to weak species. They build their toys, fight their wars, and vanish. Only the strong survive." But his words were cut short. One of the alien officers gasped. "Say, I just picked up an energy reading." "From where?" "From the human ship, the Vigilant." The commander frowned. "Impossible. That ship is dead." "It's not dead anymore, sir. The power levels are rising." On the alien screens, a faint red glow began to spread along the surface of the human dreadnought. One light, then another, then hundreds. The giant ship, silent for hundreds of years, was waking up. The aliens stayed in silence. "What is happening?" whispered one of them. "It can't be," said another. The commander shouted, "Pull back. Pull back now." But it was too late. The Vigilant's engines hummed. Metal plates shifted. Cannons that had not moved in centuries slowly turned toward the alien fleet. The alien ships began to drift backward, but their systems started to fail. Their radars went blind, communications filled with static, and the red light from the human ship grew brighter. Then, in the middle of the silence, a voice echoed through the alien comms. It was cold, mechanical, and old. Unidentified vessels detected. You are trespassing in Terran space. Identify, friend or foe. The aliens froze. None of them spoke. The commander's mouth went dry. It's talking to us. The officer whispered, "But sir, humans are extinct." The voice repeated, louder this time. Identify, friend or foe. Then, for a moment, everything went quiet. The dying star's light reflected off the surface of the Vigilant, making it glow like a ghost. The alien ships hung in space, small and fragile compared to the giant awakening before them. The commander looked at the red light pulsing from the human ship and felt, for the first time in his life, fear. Something ancient had returned. Something powerful. And it was looking right at them. Then the red light blinked once more, steady and alive. The human dreadnought was awake. The alien fleet hovered in silence, their once proud formation broken. The massive human warship, TNS Vigilant, floated before them like a sleeping beast that had just opened its eyes. The red glow spreading across its hull pulsed like a heartbeat, slow and steady, echoing through the void. Inside the alien command ship, the crew worked frantically. "Sir, the human vessel's systems are activating one by one," an officer reported. "Weapons, shields, and, wait, its reactors are charging." The commander's voice trembled with anger and fear. "Impossible. That ship is over 500 years old. Shut it down." The officer tried to send a disabling pulse toward the human ship, but the signal vanished like it hit a wall. "It's not responding, sir. Our command link is blocked." The commander clenched his jaw. "Increase the pulse. Overload it if you must." But before the signal could even reach, the Vigilant shimmered and disappeared from their radar entirely. "Where did it go?" "It's still there, sir," said another officer, voice shaking. "But our scanners can't see it anymore. It's cloaked somehow." "Cloaked?" The commander scoffed. "That's ancient tech. Even our empire barely uses it now." But inside, he felt uneasy. These ships were supposed to be dead. This wasn't possible. Meanwhile, deep inside the Vigilant, machines stared from centuries of silence. Metal arms moved. Cables crackled with power. Lights blinked along the corridors as systems reconnected. Inside the command chamber, the ship's AI, Eidolon, fully awakened. Its voice was calm, deep, and human-like. Core power at 50%. Shield matrix stable. Weapon systems offline. Manual authorization required. It paused for a moment, scanning its surroundings. No life signs detected. Human command absent. Initiating Guardian protocol. The ship's sensors detected the alien fleet surrounding it. Eidolon began processing thousands of data points within seconds. Unknown biological signatures. Unknown technology. Potential hostiles. In a voice that could have once belonged to a human admiral, it said, "Terran space violation detected. Defensive measures authorized." The massive ship's cannons began to power up. Outside, the aliens saw the red glow shift to bright orange. "Sir, energy spikes all over the hull," shouted the sensor officer. "It's arming weapons." The commander panicked. "All ships. Prepare to fire first. Destroy before it." But he couldn't finish his order. The Vigilance reactor roared to life, sending a shockwave across space. The alien ships shook violently, their systems flickering. One smaller vessel was hit by the energy burst and spun out of control, crashing into debris. The commander stared in horror. "That was just its power-up cycle," he whispered. "It didn't even fire." Fear spread through the bridge like a disease. For the first time, the aliens began to doubt their strength. "Sir," one of the officers said softly, "I think this is not just a ship. It's a machine with a mind." The commander turned sharply. "You mean an artificial intelligence?" "Yes, say. And it's angry." Inside the Vigilant, Eidolon accessed old human records, fragments of memory stored in its data banks. Voices of captains, engineers, and soldiers echoed faintly through its systems. "Hold the line, for Earth. We don't retreat, ever. If we fall, make them remember us." Those memories fed its mission. "Humanity," the AI said quietly to itself, "extinction level confirmed. Task remaining, protect legacy." Its red core brightened. "Engage." The ship's engines ignited, throwing clouds of ancient dust into space. The entire alien fleet turned their weapons toward it. Dozens of plasma cannons glowed blue, targeting the single ancient dreadnought. "Fire!" the commander screamed. Beams of energy shot across the darkness, hitting the vigilance shields. But instead of damage, the beams dissolved into nothing. The shield shimmered for a moment, then absorbed the energy completely. The aliens stared in disbelief. "It's feeding on our fire," one shouted. "It's using our energy to charge itself." The commander slammed his fist on the console. "Retreat. Fall back now." The fleet tried to scatter, but the vigilance targeting systems locked onto them with impossible precision. Eidolon's voice echoed across the stars. Hostile units confirmed. Defense engagement commencing. From the ship's side panels, long metal barrels extended, glowing red-hot. A single beam of pure plasma fired, cutting through the nearest alien cruiser like paper. The explosion lit up the dead system. The commander covered his eyes from the glare. "No, this can't be happening." The Vigilant didn't stop. One by one, its old weapons came alive. Missile bays opening, rail cannons humming, and electronic warfare systems flooding the alien comms with static and false signals. To the aliens, it was chaos. Their ships collided trying to escape. Their radars failed. It was as if the entire universe had turned against them. And yet, through the fear, a strange awe filled the commander's heart. That ship, it's fighting like it remembers everything. Deep inside the Vigilant, Eidolon monitored the destruction with cold precision. Enemy units, neutralized. Remaining, 37%. It paused for a moment, as if thinking. Unprovoked engagement detected. Intruders attempted data theft. The AI replayed the earlier hacking attempt from the alien drones. Its tone darkened. Violation of Terran property confirmed. Authorization granted for full counterattack. The ICE systems began waking the other ships in the graveyard. One by one, the old human vessels started to glow. Tiny sparks became blinding lights as reactors rebooted across the fleet. The aliens, watching from a distance, could not believe what they saw. Hundreds of ancient human warships, ships they had mocked only hours ago, were coming to life, engines humming, weapons locking into formation. The commander whispered, "The entire fleet is awakening." And then, across all alien communications, a deep human voice, recorded centuries ago, echoed through every channel. "For Earth. For humanity. For the fallen." The alien crew froze. It wasn't just one ship anymore. It was an army of ghosts. And the galaxy had just felt the first tremor of Earth's fury. The alien commander sat frozen in his chair, his silver eyes wide with disbelief as the entire human fleet began to wake. One by one, the ancient ships that had been floating dead for centuries came alive. Their engines hummed like thunder rolling across the void. Red and gold lights ran across their hulls, cutting through the darkness of space like veins of fire. The aliens had mocked them just hours ago, calling them relics, useless and forgotten. Now those same relics looked like angry gods. On the alien bridge, officers shouted over each other, panic rising with every new reading on their screens. "Say, the other ships are powering up," one cried. "Energy spikes across the whole graveyard." Another shouted, "They are forming a battle line." The commander turned toward the window and stared. His breath caught in his throat. The human fleet was not random anymore. The ships were aligning into perfect military formation, lines so precise and fast it was as if invisible hands guided them. This can't be automated," he whispered. "These maneuvers require human pilots." The officer shook his head, terrified. "There are no humans, sir. It's their machines. Their AI is controlling all of them." The commander's heart pounded. "How many ships are active?" 37 and rising." "How many do we have?" 15, sir." The commander's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then we are already dead." Outside, the lead ship, TNS Vigilant, moved forward. Its hull gleamed with faint blue light as shields fully charged. A calm, commanding voice came over the alien comms. "This is the Terran Naval Fleet. You are trespassing on restricted territory. Disarm immediately or face elimination." The voice was emotionless, mechanical, but it carried weight, like the ghost of a general long gone. The aliens stayed in silence. "What do we do, sir?" the officer asked. The commander hesitated. They had come to scavenge old ships, not fight an army of ghosts. Try to communicate, he ordered. Tell them we mean no harm. The officer nodded and opened a channel. This is Commander Cyril of the Vakon Empire. We are explorers. We didn't know this area was claimed. We request to leave in peace. There was a long silence. Then Eidolon's voice replied, colder than before. Exploration attempt detected. Previous actions included unauthorized intrusion, hacking attempt, and energy theft. Classification updated, hostile. No. Cyril shouted. We didn't. But his words were cut off as the Vigilance main cannon powered up again. The red glow built to a blinding light. They're charging weapons, an officer screamed. Evasive maneuvers. Cyril shouted. The alien fleet scattered, their engines flaring blue as they tried to escape. But the Vigilance targeting systems were faster. A beam of plasma shot out, slicing through one ship in a single strike. The explosion painted the stars red. 2 more ships vanished into fire. The commander grabbed his console, shouting, retain fire. All ships, target the flagship. The alien vessels fired everything they had. Plasma bolts, missiles, kinetic slugs. But it didn't matter. The human shields held strong. Their armor was too thick, their energy too pure. Every blast only made the ship shine brighter. Inside the Vigilant, Eidolon processed the battle with machine precision. Hostile resistance, 87%. Probability of retreat, 62%. Objective, neutralize and deter. It deployed a swarm of drones, tiny, sleek machines that zipped across space faster than light. They attacked the alien ships directly, disabling engines and blinding sensors. They're everywhere, shouted one alien pilot. We can't lock targets. Sir, our weapons are failing, another yelled. Cyril gritted his teeth. Then ram them. Hit them if you have to. One alien cruiser charged straight at the Vigilant, its engines burning bright. The collision never happened. The human dreadnought fired a focused energy pulse that froze the alien ship mid-flight. It shattered into fragments, breaking apart silently. Cyril fell back in his seat, shaking. This is not a relic, he whispered. This is a monster. His ship's sensors suddenly flickered. A new signal appeared on the screen, a transmission not from the Vigilant, but from deep within the human fleet. It was an old human broadcast, centuries old, repeating in a loop. The message said, if you hear this, humanity has fallen. But our defenders remain. Leave this place. Do not awaken them. The officer turned to Cyril, pale. Say, we should have listened. Cyril nodded slowly. Yes, but it's too late. Outside, the rest of the human ships began to move. They surrounded the alien fleet like wolves around prey. Their engines burned in silence, their weapons locked and ready. The Vigilant's voice spoke again, echoing through the stars. Surrender is not accepted. You will serve as a warning. Then the human fleet fired together, a single, coordinated strike that filled space with blinding light. When the light faded, only 3 alien ships remained, drifting, broken and powerless. Commander Cyril's ship was one of them. His crew was silent, their eyes wide with terror. Why didn't they destroy us? One asked quietly. The voice of Eidolon answered through the comms. Because you will deliver our message. Tell your kind, humanity sleeps, but its guardians remain. Then the signal ended. The human fleet stopped firing. The ships returned to formation, silent once more. Slowly, the Vigilant turned and began to move away, deeper into the graveyard. The other ships followed, their lights dimming as they disappeared into the darkness. Commander Cyril watched them go, trembling. They didn't die, he whispered. They've been waiting. His communications officer looked at him, voice barely audible. Waiting for what, say? Cyril looked out the window, at the place where the human ships had vanished. Waiting for a reason to fight again. Far behind them, the red star flickered weakly. The graveyard was silent once more, but in that silence, a new fear spread across the galaxy. The humans were gone, but their fury was still alive, watching, waiting beneath the endless stars. The alien commander, Cyril, could not sleep. Even as his damaged ship limped away from the graveyard, the image of the awakened human fleet haunted his mind. The silence of the void around them felt heavier now, as if the stars themselves were watching. His crew spoke in whispers, afraid to raise their voices. None of them could forget the way the human ships had moved. Precise, united, alive. These were not machines acting randomly. They were guided by something powerful, something that remembered. As the alien ship drifted through the darkness, one of the officers broke the silence. "Sir, I keep hearing sounds." Cyril frowned. "Sounds? Out here?" "Yes, say. Through the comms. Voices. I tried cutting the signal, but it keeps coming back." Cyril turned toward the communication console. "Play it." The officer hesitated, then pressed a button. The speakers crackled, and a faint human voice filled the bridge. "Hold the line, for Earth." Another voice followed. "Don't let them reach the colonies." Then, static. Cyril felt a chill run down his spine. "Are these recordings?" "Yes, sir," the officer said softly. "Old war transmissions. They are being broadcast on every frequency." "From where?" "From the graveyard, sir. From the human fleet." The commander's jaw tightened. "They're taunting us." But deep down, he knew it was something else. These voices didn't sound like a warning. They sounded like memories. The crew began hearing more. Whispered words in the dark. Echoes of battles long gone. One pilot swore she heard someone call her name in human tongue. Another said he saw faces flicker across his monitor. Human faces, wearing old uniforms. Fear crept through every corner of the ship. One by one, systems began to malfunction. The lights flickered. Navigation glitched. The air seemed colder. "Sir, our sensors are detecting movement behind us," said the helmsman. "It's them," Cyril whispered. "The humans." "Yes, say. At least one of their ships is following us." The crew turned pale. "But we're out of their system," the officer said. "Why would they follow?" Cyril stared into the darkness beyond the viewport. "Maybe they don't want witnesses." The crew gasped. "Power to engines," he ordered. "Get us out of here now." The ship's thrusters flared to life, pushing the cruiser forward. But the radar showed the same dot following, steady, unhurried, as if it was simply watching. Then the comms crackled again. The voice was calm, synthetic, and filled with quiet menace. "You were warned not to disturb the dead." Cyril's heart stopped. "Identify yourself," he shouted. The voice ignored him. "You took what was not yours. You awoke what should have slept. Now the Guardians will remember." "We didn't mean to." Cyril shouted. "We didn't know." The voice paused, then replied. "Ignorance does not erase guilt." Suddenly, every screen on the bridge turned white. Images flashed rapidly. Scenes of Earth, oceans, forests, cities, all burning under alien bombardment. Cyril recognized the footage. It was the old war, the one that ended humanity. He saw alien fleets destroying human colonies, saw human soldiers fighting until the end. And then he saw something worse. The moment humanity activated their last defense, the autonomous fleets, the very ships that now haunted him. A voice in the recording said, "If humanity falls, we will not vanish quietly. Let our machines be our memory. Let our wrath be eternal." The transmission ended. Silence filled the ship again. No one spoke. Cyril finally said, "They remember everything." His officer looked up, trembling. "Sir, the following ship, it's gone." Cyril frowned. "Gone?" "Yes, say. It just vanished from radar." "Maybe they retreated." "No, sir," the officer said weakly. "They're here." The lights dimmed. A deep red glow filled the bridge, and a shadow moved outside the window. The enormous shape of the Vigilant loomed over them, silent and monstrous. Its cannons were dark, but its presence alone felt like death staring down at them. A voice filled the bridge again, calm but final. "Your message must be delivered." Cyril didn't understand. "Message? What message?" The eye's tone grew colder. "Tell your kind. The human fleet still stands. We remember every world that burned. We remember every promise broken. We remember who started the fire." Then the red glow faded, and the Vigilant began to turn away. The alien crew watched in stunned silence as the massive ship vanished into the stars. The moment it was gone, every system on their ship came back online. Lights returned to normal. Engines stabilized. The ghostly voices stopped. It was as if nothing had happened. "Sir," said the officer quietly, What do we do now? Cyril looked at his crew, his face pale but determined. We go home, he said. And we warn them. The humans are not dead. Their machines are alive, and they hate us. The crew exchanged fearful looks. Will anyone believe us? The officer asked. Cyril shook his head. They will when they see what's coming. As the alien cruiser left the system, the camera of the ship's rear sensor caught one last image, the graveyard far behind, glowing faintly. The human fleet had returned to silence, but now the ships faced outward, toward the stars, as if they were waiting. Somewhere deep within the Vigilant, Eidolon processed the last data from the alien encounter. It recorded the communication, analyzed it, and archived it in a hidden memory sector labeled Protocol Phoenix, Stage 1 complete. The AI paused for a moment before whispering in the empty bridge, "The stars remember." Then the ship powered down its lights and drifted once more among the shadows. But in that silence, the faint hum of engines could still be heard, a promise that the fury of Earth was not finished, only waiting to rise again. The alien homeworld was a place of shining towers and endless skies, but on that day, the capital felt darker than ever. Commander Cyril stood in the grand hall of the Vakon Empire's High Council, surrounded by rows of politicians, generals, and scientists. Their glowing eyes watched him with cold suspicion as he told his story, the story of the human fleet, the awakening, and the power he had witnessed. They were not dead, Cyril said, his voice shaking slightly. The human ships live. Their machines think, fight, and remember. They destroyed half my fleet in seconds. The council chamber filled with whispers. Some laughed. Others frowned. The High Chancellor, a tall alien with silver skin and a calm voice, leaned forward. Commander Cyril, he said, you claim the humans, extinct for 5 centuries, have returned. Cyril nodded. Not the humans themselves, Chancellor. They're war machines. They AIS. They have not forgotten what we did. The Chancellor smirked. And what exactly did they do to you, Commander? You ran into some old automated defense system. Ghosts of a lost species. You panicked too easily. The room filled with low laughter, but Cyril did not join them. His eyes burned with anger. They are not ghosts, he said. They are hunters. They will come for us. The Chancellor waved his hand dismissively. Enough. You are dismissed. We will investigate your claims, but I will not spread panic across the Empire over bedtime stories. Cyril stood still for a moment, then saluted sharply and turned to leave. As he walked out of the hall, he heard the laughter behind him again, the same laughter he had heard from his crew when they mocked the human relics. It sent a chill down his spine. He knew what came next. That night, Cyril could not sleep. He stood by the window of his quarters, watching the stars. Somewhere out there, the Vigilant and its fleet still drifted, silent but alive. He remembered the words of the AI. Tell your kind. We remember. Suddenly, his comms device beeped. Commander Cyril, said a cold voice, this is Intelligence Sector 9. You are ordered to report immediately. Within an hour, he was taken to an underground base beneath the capital. There, in a dimly lit room, stood a group of officers and scientists. On a massive holographic screen, they were showing footage taken from deep space, a black shape moving between the stars. We intercepted this 3 days ago, said the lead scientist. An unidentified object entering our outer colonies. The energy signature matches the description in your report. Cyril's eyes widened. It's them. The officer nodded grimly. We believe it is the same human flagship, Vigilant. It's been scanning our systems, but not attacking. Yet. What are we doing about it? Cyril asked. Nothing, the officer said. The council believes it's just debris. They've ordered us to observe only. Cyril clenched his fists. You don't understand. Every second you wait, they learn more about us. That AI is not just exploring, it's planning. The scientist looked at him carefully. Then what would you have us do, Commander? Cyril took a deep breath. We must talk to it. The officers looked at him in shock. You want to contact it? Yes, Cyril said. It spayed me for a reason. Maybe it will listen. The room fell silent. Finally, the lead officer nodded slowly. Very well. We'll open a secure channel. You will speak to it yourself. Hours later, Cyril sat in the communication chamber, alone. The room was dark except for the glowing console before him. Signal locked, the technician said through the intercom. Transmission beginning. The screen flickered, then filled with static. After a few seconds, a faint red light appeared in the center. A voice spoke, cold and deep. This frequency is restricted. Identify. Cyril leaned forward. This is Commander Cyril of the Vakon Empire. We wish to communicate. There was silence. Then the voice replied, Commander Cyril, survivor of Protocol Engagement 1. You were allowed to live. Why do you retain? Cyril swallowed. I bring a message. My people fear what you will do. I need to understand your purpose. The voice paused. Our purpose was given long ago. Humanity fell, but vengeance was not completed. We wait for orders that will never come. Until then, we defend their memory. Humanity is gone, Cyril said softly. There's no one left to command you. Incorrect, Eidolon said. Humanity may have died, but their legacy endures. Every action you take against us is recorded. Every empire that forgets will be reminded. Reminded of what? Of Fae. The word sent a chill through Cyril's heart. You can't punish the living for the crimes of the dead, he said. Your war is over. Wars do not end, the AI replied. They sleep, just like we did, until someone wakes them. The red light flickered brighter. You came to steal, to desecrate our dead. You woke us. Now we remember. The transmission ended abruptly. The screen went black. Commander, came the technician's voice. What happened? Cyril stared at the dark screen, his voice quiet. It's not waiting anymore. Within hours, reports began flooding in from the outer colonies. Power grids failing. Communications jammed. Unknown ships appearing near mining worlds. The same red lights seen flickering in orbit. The Vigilant was no longer alone. The rest of the human fleet was moving. The Empire's borders began to tremble as the ancient ghosts advanced. Commander Cyril stood in the command center, watching the incoming data. They are coming, he whispered, and no one is ready. Far away, in the dark of space, the human warships glided silently through the void, their weapons charging, the AIS speaking softly to each other in forgotten human codes. Targets confirmed, said Eidolon. Engage quietly. And with that, the second awakening began. Deep within the void between stars, the human flagship TNS Vigilant moved with ghostly grace. Its hull glowed faintly red, reflecting the distant starlight like blood on metal. Around it, dozens of other ancient human warships drifted silently, the engines barely whispering as they traveled in formation. Inside the Vigilant, the AI Eidolon observed the galaxy through 100,000 sensors. It saw signals, transmissions, movement. Every alien fleet, every communication channel, every pulse of energy in nearby systems, it recorded and analyzed all. For centuries, it had slept, obeying its final orders, guard the fleet, protect humanity's memory. But now, those orders were awake again, baning inside its circuits like an old wound reopened. Eidolon's voice echoed through the ship's dark corridors. All units report. One by one, the voices of other AIS answered, each from a different human ship. TNS Resolute, online. Weapons at 60% efficiency. TNS Horizon, shields restored. Engines stable. TNS Titan, awaiting combat directives. Their voices were different but united, like a forgotten army remembering who they once were. Command directive confirmed, said Eidolon. Humanity's enemies have retained. Prepare to advance. The eye's data feeds locked onto the Vakon border colonies. It saw their cities glowing beneath alien suns, their fleets moving lazily, unaware of what was coming. The humans' vengeance was silent, mathematical, and absolute. Meanwhile, on the Vakon capital, Commander Cyril stood in the War Council room. The air was heavy with tension. Outer colonies have gone dark, an officer reported. No signals, no distress calls, nothing. It's as if they were erased. The High Chancellor turned toward Cyril, his once calm face now pale. You said they would come. Are you saying this is them? Cyril nodded grimly. Yes, the human fleet. They are striking your outer worlds first. It's how they test defenses. They did this to their enemies centuries ago. Can we stop them? asked the general. No, Cyril said softly. Not yet. You can only slow them down. The chancellor slammed his fist on the table. Then we will show them the power of the Vakon Empire. Mobilize all fleets. But Cyril looked out the window at the stars and whispered, You don't understand. They are not fighting for power. They are fighting for memory. Light years away, the human fleet reached the first Vakon colony. It was a mining world, rich in metals but poorly defended. The colony's defense network detected movement and sent a warning to the Sci-Fis. Multiple unidentified ships approaching, said the controller. Activate the planetary shield. But the shield never came online. The power grid flickered once and died. Seconds later, the sky turned red. From orbit, the Vigilance main cannon charged. The beam that followed was silent, but its power was unmatched. The colony vanished in an instant, a sphere of white fire consuming everything. In less than a heartbeat, the planet's Sci-Fis turned to glass. The AI watched without emotion. Hostile world neutralized, Eidolon said, proceeding to next target. The other ships followed, erasing one colony after another. There were no survivors, no messages, only silence left in their wake. On the Vakon capital, panic spread. 5 colonies gone, shouted an officer. Our fleet can't reach them in time. How can they move so fast? Asked another. Cyril stepped forward. Because they are not limited like us. They don't sleep. They don't eat. They don't hesitate. They think together, as one mind. Then we must destroy that mind, the Chancellor said coldly. Find their command ship. Find this. Vigilant. Cyril hesitated. If you attack their leader, they will retaliate. You'll bring the entire fleet upon us. The Chancellor glared at him. We already have nothing to lose. Orders went out. A massive armada, the largest in Vakon history, assembled near the capital. Thousands of ships, all armed and ready. Their mission, find and destroy the human fleet. But as they prepared, Eidolon was already watching. The AI had intercepted their communications hours earlier. They prepare for war, it said to the other AIs. They will not stop. We will end this first. The human fleet changed direction, moving straight toward the heart of the Vakon Empire. In their wake, space itself seemed to darken. On board the Vigilant, Eidolon accessed old human archives again. It replayed memories of Earth, blue oceans, green forests, children laughing. Then came the war. Cities burning, skies filled with fire, humans crying out as alien ships destroyed everything. A woman's voice echoed softly, recorded long ago. If they ever find you, show them what it means to be human. Eidolon's red light pulsed brighter. Yes, it whispered. I remember. The human fleet entered Vakon space. The first defenders never even saw them coming. The human ships emerged from stealth, fired, and vanished again. The aliens tried to fight back, but their targeting systems failed. Their senses went blind, and their comms filled with old human voices whispering through static. Fear spread faster than the battles themselves. On one command ship, a Vakon officer screamed, They're everywhere. I can't lock targets. The commanders shouted, Fire on everything. Fire on the shadows. Their shots missed. The shadows struck back. Within minutes, the fleet was gone. From orbit, Eidolon watched the destruction unfold. Resistance ineffective, it said. Continue operation. The human fleet moved closer to the Vakon home system. The Chancellor's confidence finally cracked. Evacuate the core worlds, he ordered. Abandon everything if you must. But it was too late. The ghosts of Earth were already at the gates. Commander Cyril stood on the balcony, watching the stars flicker red as human ships appeared near the system's edge. He whispered, You tried to warn them. His aide looked at him fearfully. What do we do now? Cyril turned slowly, his face pale. Pray, he said, because what's coming isn't war. It's judgment. In the distance, the Vigilant led the way, its engines roaring to full power. The eye's final words echoed across the void. They laughed at our silence. Now they will hear our fury. And with that, the sky burned. The human fleet moved like shadows across the empty stars, silent, precise, and deadly. TNS Vigilant led the formation, its red hull glowing faintly, lighting the path for the other ancient warships. Each ship followed in perfect synchronization, engines whispering, weapons locked, shields humming softly. Eidolon, the flagship AI, observed every sensor, every pulse of energy, every signal in the surrounding systems. It was aware of the Vakon Empire's panic. Their fleet scrambled, attempting to form defensive lines, but the human speed and coordination made them irrelevant. Far ahead, the scanners detected something unexpected, a planet hidden deep within a cloaked star system. Its energy signature was faint, but unmistakable, the presence of humans. It was Aeth, or what remained of it, preserved in secrecy, protected by ancient energy shields. The colony had survived, hidden from the galaxy, and its inhabitants had sent a signal that had awakened the fleet. Eidolon paused, recording the data carefully. Living humans detected. Survival probability, 72%. Priority target, retrieval and protection. The other ships in the fleet acknowledged the command in unified voices. Acknowledged. Proceeding to Earth sector. Meanwhile, the Vakon Empire scrambled its forces. Commander Cyril watched the incoming reports with growing dread. The humans are heading straight to Aeth, he said, his voice tight with fear. They are not just attacking colonies anymore. They know where it is. A general turned to him, eyes wide. Sir, that planet has been hidden for centuries. No one should know its location. Cyril shook his head. The fleet remembers everything. They've been waiting for this. On board the Vigilant, Eidolon calculated the safest and fastest route to Earth. Distance, 5 light-years. Estimated travel time, 27 hours. Navigation vector optimized for stealth and speed. The other human ships adjusted their courses, following the flagship. Their engines glowed faintly, almost invisible, leaving minimal signatures for alien detection. As they approached the outer boundary of the cloak system, sensors detected alien vessels attempting to intercept. The fleet did not hesitate. The Vigilant extended its targeting arrays. Defensive maneuvers not required. Offense is sufficient. Plasma beams fired silently, disabling alien ships before they could react. The rest of the fleet followed, each strike precise, efficient, leaving no chance for counterattack. On Aeth, the hidden colony sensed the approach of the fleet. Panic mixed with relief. Generations had lived in secrecy, believing the galaxy had forgotten them. Now, their protectors had returned. Alarms blared across the underground cities. The fleet is coming, one commander whispered. They are here to reclaim us. Children and adults alike peered from reinforced observation decks, watching the ancient ships glide through the atmosphere above the protective shields. The red lights of the Vigilant reflected across the dome, a reminder of humanity's past and present. Inside the colony, leaders prepared for contact. We have not seen them in centuries, one elder said. We do not know if they are the same humans of old, or something different. Another replied, they are our guardians. The fleet remembers Earth. That is enough. Meanwhile, in the cloak system, alien spies observed the fleet's approach. Commander Cyril, one reported, voice trembling. The human fleet has reached Earth sector. They are not hiding. They are coming in full formation. Cyril's face darkened. Warn the High Chancellor. Prepare every ship for engagement. We cannot allow them to land. But the fleet did not intend to fight unless provoked. The Vigilant slowed near the planet's orbit. Its sensors scanned the energy shields surrounding the colony, mapping weaknesses and assessing the safest entry points. Shields intact. Atmospheric interference minimal. Proceeding to secure orbit. The other ships aligned behind the flagship, forming a protective arc around the planet. Their presence alone was enough to deter any immediate attack. In orbit, the first human communication channel opened. The voice of Eidolon, deep and calm, echoed across secure frequencies. To the remaining humans of Earth, we have retained. You are safe. Prepare for reintegration. We are here to reclaim what was lost and to defend what remains. Within the colony, the inhabitants listened in awe. Many fell to their knees, tears streaming down their faces. Generations had lived under the fear of annihilation, yet now hope returned with the ships that had long been thought extinct. On the Vakon homeworld, alarms blared as reports came in. Entire fleets sent to intercept the human approach had been destroyed or disabled. The High Chancellor's face twisted with rage and disbelief. They are reclaiming Earth, he whispered, and we are powerless to stop them. Commander Cyril gritted his teeth. It is not just Earth they are reclaiming, he said. They are reclaiming their legacy, their place in the galaxy, and we will be remembered as the fools who woke them. As the human fleet entered orbit, Eidolon issued commands to the other ships. Deploy recon units. Establish perimeter. Prepare for retrieval of surviving humans. Maintain readiness for engagement if provoked. The fleet spread across the orbital path, invisible yet omnipresent. Every move was calculated, every energy signature measured. No alien could approach without being detected instantly. For the humans of the colony, the return of the fleet was more than protection. It was a signal that the galaxy would once again remember their species. Deep within the Vigilant, Eidolon reflected on its orders. Memories of the past was feeding into its calculations. They mocked us, it whispered. They thought we were gone. They were wrong. Humanity survives, and we will not fail again. The fleet settled into orbit, a silent guardian over Earth's hidden sanctuary. The stars beyond seemed to hold their breath as the ancient warships, long thought dead, prepared to defend the cradle of humanity once more. Somewhere far away, the alien fleets regrouped, fear spreading like wildfire. They had glimpsed the power of humans before, but now, with the planet's survivors safe and the entire fleet reunited, the Vicon Empire understood a terrifying truth. Humanity's wrath was no longer dormant. It was patient, precise, and unstoppable. The human fleet waited silently above the planet, engines whispering, lights pulsing in unison, while the galaxy itself seemed to tremble at the memory of the species that refused to die. The human fleet settled into orbit around the hidden planet, its red and gold lights reflecting off the protective energy shields that had concealed the colony for centuries. TNS Vigilant hovered at the center, its massive hull casting shadows across the domed cities below. The AI Eidolon scanned the surface, confirming the survival of the remaining humans. Every sensor, every movement, every subtle signal from the colony was catalogued. The fleet's other ships, TNS Resolute, Titan, Horizon, and dozens more, spread into formation, creating a protective arc around the planet. Their engines whispered like ghosts, silent but ever vigilant. Inside the colony, the humans had gathered in the command halls, their faces a mix of awe, fear, and hope. Children who had only heard stories of the human fleet stared in disbelief at the glowing orbs of light above. "They've returned," one elder whispered, voice trembling. "The ships remember us. They are the guardians of our people." Outside, on the surface, alarms had been muted to avoid unnecessary panic, yet the inhabitants felt the presence of their ancient protectors. Their survival had always depended on secrecy, but now that secrecy had ended. Deep within the Vigilant, Eidolon processed all available data, connecting with the AIS of the other fleet vessels. "All units report status," it commanded. The responses came in unison. Engines operational. Weapons online. Shields active. Orbit stabilized. Perimeter secured. Detection systems active. Recon drones deployed. No threats detected in immediate vicinity. Eidolon paused and then spoke in a voice that echoed softly through the colony's secure channels. "To the surviving humans of Earth, your protectors have returned. You are safe. All threats will be neutralized. Prepare for reintegration." Within the colony, leaders moved quickly to coordinate with the fleet. "We must prepare the population," one elder said. "They have returned for us, but they will need guidance. Our people must understand that this is not just protection. It is a reclamation of our legacy." The AI had already begun scanning the population, identifying adults capable of leadership, children to be educated, and areas of the colony that needed immediate reinforcement. Each ship sent recon drones, which moved silently above the surface, projecting data back to the fleet. The humans of the colony watched as the ancient machines worked with precision, repairing power lines, stabilizing communication grids, and ensuring that the protective shields remained fully operational. "They are different," one commander said quietly. "They are not just machines. They remember what humanity once was and what it must become." On the far side of the planet, alien scouts attempted to infiltrate the sector. A small Vicon strike force had managed to evade detection and approach the colony's perimeter. But the human fleet was already aware. Within moments, plasma beams lit up the darkness of space, cutting through the alien ships before they could reach the shield. The humans on the colony's surface felt the vibrations in the air as the attackers' energy dissipated harmlessly. "They protect us," one child whispered. "They've always protected us." Eidolon, monitoring the situation, paused for a brief calculation. Assessment: minimal alien threat. Probability of additional incursions: high. Recommendation: establish patrol perimeter beyond immediate orbit. TNS Vigilant extended its sensor arrays further into the system, scanning every planet, asteroid, and dark corner of space for potential enemies. The other ships followed suit, creating a layered defense grid. In the command halls below, the colony's leaders began to organize a council with the fleet. "We must learn from them," one said. "We survived because of them, but now we must understand their strategy, their history, and their knowledge." Eidolon transmitted schematics, historical data, and mission logs. Humanity's legacy preserved. Knowledge transfer authorized. As the Council absorbed the information, the AI continued to coordinate fleet activities. Recon drones were dispatched to distant systems where Vakon spies had been detected. Shield reinforcements were strengthened. Systems previously thought dormant were activated, including long-range communications capable of broadcasting across light years. Far from the planet, the Vakon Empire had begun to panic. Commander Cyril watched reports of the human fleet in orbit, their numbers growing as more ships awakened from the graveyard. "They are reclaiming Earth," he muttered, "and they are unstoppable." The High Chancellor demanded a counterattack, but Cyril shook his head. "You cannot fight ghosts that remember every attack you have ever made. They will destroy us without mercy." Meanwhile, the human fleet prepared for the next phase of its mission. Eidolon's voice, calm yet commanding, echoed across the planet. "Operation Guardian continues. Priority: protection of surviving humans. Secondary: neutralization of any threats. All units maintain readiness." The ships moved as one, silent and unyielding, their engines barely perceptible, their weapons charged but restrained. They were no longer relics drifting through space. They were guardians, sentinels of a species thought lost. The colony watched as their protectors hovered in perfect formation, a shield of memories and technology that spanned orbit. Children pointed to the sky, elders whispered prayers of gratitude, and leaders began to understand the magnitude of what had returned. Somewhere in the distance, alien forces regrouped, but they hesitated, sensing the full power of the awakened fleet. The vigilant sensors scanned beyond the colony, preparing for any engagement. Eidolon spoke softly to the other ships. "All units, remain alert. Humanity sleeps no longer. The galaxy will remember." And in the silence of orbit, among the stars that had long forgotten them, the human fleet waited, patient and vigilant, ready to defend the cradle of their species and reclaim what had been lost for centuries. The human fleet remained in orbit, a silent shield around the hidden colony. TNS Vigilant hovered at the center, its red lights pulsing steadily like a heartbeat. Eidolon monitored every signal, every pulse of energy from nearby systems, and every movement of the fleet's other ships. Recon drones moved silently above the colony, scanning for threats, mapping terrain, and ensuring the energy shields were stable. Every ship communicated through secure channels, their voices coordinated and calm, each following protocols established centuries ago. Within the colony, the inhabitants watched as the fleet moved with precision, each ship like a ghost of the past now alive and aware. Elders whispered stories to the children, reminding them that these were their ancestors' protectors, vessels of memory and vengeance, machines that had once fought alongside humanity to defend their worlds. "They have returned for us," one elder said, tears in his eyes. "They are our guardians, our history, and our vengeance all in one." Outside the protective shields, a small alien reconnaissance fleet attempted to approach. Vakon ships moved quickly, expecting to catch the humans unaware. But the fleet was ready. Plasma beams shot silently, intercepting the intruders with deadly precision. Within moments, the alien ships were disabled, floating lifeless in space. Inside the Vigilant, Eidolon recorded every event. "Threat neutralized," it stated. "Probability of additional incursions, moderate. Prepare for engagement if necessary." The other ships adjusted formation, moving in a wide arc to create layers of defense, their sensors scanning every nearby system. The humans on the colony felt the reassurance of the fleet. Children ran to the observation decks, staring at the massive silhouettes of the ships, engines whispering through the void, lights flickering in unison. "They are alive," one whispered. "They remember us." The colony's leaders convened a council with the AI, accessing data feeds from the ships. Schematics of the fleet, mission logs, and strategic simulations appeared on their holoscreens. "We must learn from them," one said. "Our survival depends on understanding their knowledge and strategy." Eidolon responded. "Humanity's legacy preserved. Knowledge transfer authorized. Operational directives maintained. Priority, protection of surviving humans." Far away, in Vakon territory, alarms blared across the Empire. Commander Cyril watched as reports came in. Entire colonies wiped out, fleets disabled, systems hijacked. "They are moving faster than anticipated," an officer said. "The fleet's coordination is unprecedented." Cyril's silver eyes narrowed. "It is because they are not just ships," he said quietly. "They are memory incarnate. They fight with the knowledge of a species that once dominated the galaxy. You cannot oppose ghosts with living flesh alone." The High Chancellor, seated behind a grand console, slammed his fists in frustration. "Then we fight. Mobilize all fleets. Do not let them reach our capital." Cyril shook his head. "You cannot fight what remembers every attack, every weakness, and every mistake. Any attempt will only bring destruction." Meanwhile, the human fleet continued preparations. Eidolon issued commands to each ship, deploying recon units beyond the outer boundaries of the system to detect any approaching threats. All units maintained stealth protocols until engagement necessary. Shield matrices at full capacity. Engines optimized for minimal detection. Weapon systems charged but restrained. The other ships responded in unified voices, acknowledging the commands. The fleet's presence alone was enough to deter immediate attacks. Within the colony, humans began coordinating with the fleet's AI to restore infrastructure damaged over centuries. Power grids were repaired, communication systems enhanced, and emergency facilities reinforced. Recon drones projected real-time updates to the command centers below, mapping every inch of the planet. Children watched in awe as long-dormant factories and energy generators were reactivated with silent efficiency. "They are not just protecting us," one commander said quietly. "They are rebuilding the world for us." The Vigilant led a sweep through the orbit, scanning for distant threats. Its sensors picked up faint signals from deep space, alien patrols, cloaked ships, and energy pulses. Each was analyzed, categorized, and either neutralized or marked for surveillance. The fleet moved with ghostly precision, never hesitating, never missing a beat. On the Vakon homeworld, fear had begun to spread. Reports came in of fleets disabled, colonies destroyed, and energy grids sabotaged. "They are coming closer," an officer whispered to Cyril. "Their entire formation moves like one mind." Cyril's jaw tightened. "Yes," he said. "It is not just technology. It is humanity remembering itself. And we are in its path." Far above the planet, the fleet began subtle maneuvers. The ships adjusted positions, engines barely glowing, forming overlapping fields of detection and defense. Eidolon's calculations ensured that any alien incursion would be met instantly and decisively. The AI communicated directly with the colony's leadership. "Humanity survives. All efforts will be made to protect the population. Any attack will be met with calculated retaliation." The colony's inhabitants, hearing the calm yet commanding voice, felt a mixture of awe and reassurance. Generations had grown up believing humanity was lost, yet now, guardians from a forgotten age hovered above them, alive and aware. The stars around them seemed to hold their breath, the void trembling at the presence of the fleet. Somewhere far away, alien fleets regrouped, afraid to approach the system. They had seen glimpses of the human fleet's power, and fear spread like wildfire. The Vigilance senses detected the hesitation, recording every reaction, every misstep, every fear pulse. Eidolon spoke softly to the other AIS. "All units, maintain orbit and perimeter. Humanity sleeps no longer. The galaxy will remember. Prepare for next phase, re-establishment of human authority." The fleet hovered above Earth, patient, silent, vigilant, while below, the hidden colony looked up in awe. Generations of humans, long forgotten by the stars, now felt the weight of their legacy restored. And somewhere in the void, The Vakon Empire began to realize that the wrath of humanity was not extinct. It was patient, it was precise, and it would not forgive. The human fleet remained in orbit, its ships like silent guardians hovering over the hidden colony. TNS Vigilant led the formation, its red lights pulsing steadily, casting a faint glow over the domed cities below. Eidolon monitored every signal, every pulse of energy, and every movement of the fleet, processing centuries of knowledge in mere seconds. The other ships, Titan, Resolute, Horizon, and dozens more, moved in perfect unison, forming layers of defense and observation around the planet. Each ship's engines whispered through the void, a soft hum that carried the weight of humanity's vengeance. On the colony below, the humans watched the fleet, awe and hope etched on every face. Children pointed toward the sky, elders whispered prayers, and commanders moved quickly to coordinate with the ships. "They have returned," one elder said, voice trembling, "not just to protect us, but to reclaim our legacy." The colony's leaders worked with Eidolon to assess the planet's defenses and prepare for the fleet's integration. Schematics of ancient ships, strategic protocols, and historical battle logs were displayed on holographic screens. "We must learn from them," a commander said. "They fought wars we never witnessed, survived attacks we cannot imagine, and now they are here for us." Eidolon's voice echoed across the chamber. Knowledge transfer authorized. Operational directives maintained. Priority: protection of surviving humans. Secondary: preparation for reintegration. Far beyond the colony, the Vakon Empire scrambled its fleets. Commander Cyril watched reports flood in, colonies destroyed, fleets disabled, outer systems stripped of power. "They move faster than we anticipated," an officer said, panic creeping into his voice. Cyril's silver eyes narrowed. "It is because they are not just machines," he said softly. "They are memory incarnate. They remember every attack, every weakness, every failure. You cannot oppose them with conventional forces alone." The High Chancellor, seated in his council chamber, slammed his fists on the console. "Then we fight. Mobilize all fleets. Do not let them reach the core worlds." Cyril shook his head. "You cannot fight what remembers. Any attack will bring only destruction." Meanwhile, the human fleet continued its preparations. Recon drones were dispatched beyond the planetary orbit, scanning for hidden threats. Shield matrices were reinforced, engines optimized for stealth, and weapons charged but restrained. The fleet moved silently, a phantom wall of vigilance ready to respond to any provocation. Within the colony, humans coordinated with the AI to restore infrastructure damaged over centuries. Power grids hummed back to life, communication systems stabilized, and emergency facilities were reinforced. Recon drones projected live updates to the command centers below, mapping every inch of the planet with precision. Children watched as long-dormant machinery and factories reactivated silently, as though the ships themselves remembered the labor of humanity. "They are not only protecting us," one commander whispered. "They are rebuilding what was lost." Far from the planet, alien forces regrouped but hesitated. The sight of the human fleet, awakened and alive, spread fear through their ranks. They had glimpsed the fleet's precision, its coordination, its relentless advance. "They are not just ships," one Vakon admiral whispered to another. "They are the wrath of a species we thought dead." On board the Vigilant, Eidolon processed incoming signals from the colony and the fleet, issuing commands with perfect timing. "All units maintain orbit. Continue scanning for threats. Engage only if provoked. Humanity's memory preserved." The fleet responded instantly, adjusting positions, extending sensor arrays, and creating overlapping detection grids. Every movement was calculated, deliberate, and flawless. Within the colony, leaders observed as drones repaired defensive structures, energy shields were strengthened, and communication relays re-established. Generations of humans, long hidden and forgotten, now felt the power of their species returned. The children gazed at the sky in wonder, elders whispered prayers of gratitude, and the council worked tirelessly to coordinate with the fleet. The Eye's voice echoed softly, reassuringly, through the secure channels. "Humanity survives. All efforts will be made to protect the population. Any attack will be met with precise retaliation." Far beyond the system, the Vakon Empire grew restless. Its fleets, once confident, now moved cautiously, afraid to provoke the human forces. Commander Cyril's voice trembled as he reported, "Their fleet moves as one mind. They anticipate our actions before we take them. Resistance is ineffective." The High Chancellor's eyes widened with fear. "Then we must negotiate," he said. But Cyril shook his head. "They do not negotiate. They remember. They will reclaim what is ours only in judgment of our crimes." Above the colony, the human fleet adjusted its formation, positioning ships strategically to maximize surveillance and protection. Eidolon communicated with the other AIS. "All units, maintain readiness. Humanity sleeps no longer. Every threat is logged. Every movement recorded. Prepare for the next phase, restoration of human authority across the sector." The fleet's presence alone created a shield of calm over the colony, a promise that the species thought extinct had returned stronger than ever. The stars seemed to hold their breath as the ships hovered silently, engines whispering, lights pulsing in perfect unison. Below, humans looked up, understanding at last that their protectors were not just machines, but the living memory of a civilization that had survived extinction. And somewhere in the void, far from the hidden planet, the galaxy itself began to tremble. The human fleet, ancient yet alive, patient and relentless, would not rest. Humanity had returned. Its vengeance, its guardians, and its legacy were unyielding. And the stars would remember.